Hey there you lovely retro-leaning people, this is Consoletronix, my name is Gray, and boy oh boy do I have a scrumptious feast of video game history and hilarity laid out for you today, as I take on a trip down memory lane to look at a quartet of arcade classics from a studio whose reputation, from the height of the 80s and 90s arcade scene to home releases on humble 8-bits to this very day, have cemented their legacy within gaming. That company is of course Capcom, and today I'm going to be looking at the Capcom Platinum Collection for the 16-bit Commodore Amiga. But there's a twist in our tale, folks, as not one of these ports were actually developed by Capcom. Instead, these ports come to us from British distributor US Gold, a major player in the home computer scene back in the 80s. But would this merger of two titans of gaming result in greatness, or a quick cash-in rushed out the door botch job? Well, that's what I intend to find out. I'm going to start with a game I've never actually played, the 1987 fantasy hack and slash adventure Black Tiger. Now, credit to where credit's due, Black Tiger, a popular arcade hit upon release, never saw release on console, only on home computer platforms like the Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum, Amiga and ST. So at least it seems US Gold had an ear to the ground when it came to what was hot in the arcades. But considering how much they forked out to get the exclusive home computer rights to Capcom's 10-pence guzzling coin ops, it makes you wonder if they had anything left in the kitty to employ a musician, as there's no music whatsoever, not even an option to switch between music and sound effects. Now, I haven't played the arcade, but I imagine it carried a tune or two. Overall, this 1989 Amiga port isn't the worst I've played, but its slow, plodding action and jumping mechanic that's more treacherous than any enemy you encounter means this is probably one to consign to the dung heap of history. Now, Capcom even today may be best remembered for Street Fighter 2 and Final Fight, but ask any early adopter of a Sega Mega Drive what game they most wanted in their collection, and I guarantee Strider would most likely top that list. And while the arcade original and Mega Drive port are both rightly considered classics, few people know that after the success of Strider on home computers, US Gold would, by fair means or foul, somehow get permission from Capcom to produce the first official sequel, Strider 2, for computers, ports of which would also wind up on the Master System and Mega Drive. But what about the original Amiga port of the arcade we all know and love? Let's find out. You know, many of these computer systems like the Amiga and ST have within gaming and even things like music production, given their MIDI capabilities, fostered and maintained large fan bases to this very day. But the more games I play on this system, the more I think all those who owned one had their childhoods stolen from them. This port of Strider is everything the arcade wasn't. It's slow, lazy, and absolutely no fun to play at all. You'd think a company with the prestige of Capcom wouldn't want their IP to be treated in such a slapdash manner. But with the news that Netflix are producing a live-action, race-swapped Cowboy Bebop, just goes to show, if you throw enough money at it, nothing is sacred. We're only at the halfway point and I already want to knock it all on the head and quit like a US gymnast. But on the other hand, maybe US Gold aren't the ones to blame here. Maybe the fault lies squarely at the feet of the Commodore Amiga itself and the storage capacity of its discs. Well, if that's the case, we should definitely get more bang for our buck with the next one, as it's spread across 2 discs. Probably best known for its rather tasty Mega Drive port, but it also holds the distinction of being the very first title to be released on Capcom's legendary CPS-1 arcade board, the same that would be used for Street Fighter II. It is Forgotten Worlds.
Did you find the guy? I'll finish you today for sure.
Well, I was wondering how this one would turn out, as the Mega Drive version used A and C to rotate and B to shoot, and as the Amiga only had one measly fire button, how does it control? Well, your character constantly pirouettes as you move, and you have to hold the fire button to shoot. At first I was gearing up to give this game a verbal spanking it wouldn't soon forget, but I gave it another go and got a little better. Then another go, and again got a little better. With a little practice and a lot of patience, I actually think this could be a fun little game. And it has a decent 2-player mode. But all things being equal, it doesn't come anywhere close to equaling the far superior Mega Drive version. Well, we're 3 games deep and haven't got much to show for it, but before I pass judgment on US Gold and the wasted potential of the licenses they held, we have one final game to look at, which I've deliberately left to last, as for the most part, most of the home console and computer versions have been absolute stonkers. But as a kid, I owned the Commodore 16 version, which is no exaggeration to say the worst video game ever commercially released. And while I've heard good things about the Commodore 64 port, the Amiga community, however, have been ominously silent when talk turns to the quality of their port. The original game, however, is an absolute classic and has truly stood the test of time. It is Ghouls and Ghosts. Still have this shit. For some reason I couldn't get the memory of playing Castlevania on the Amiga out of my mind before trying this. I mean, if they can turn solid gold into a load of old wank, I didn't know what to expect. But I'm pleased to report the game's a blinder. Yeah, the lack of sound effects makes the game feel unfinished, but can we talk about the music for a moment? I swear at the beginning I thought I'd be fighting T-800 Terminators. An awesome, if insanely difficult port, but one in which I would definitely recommend to fans and non-fans alike. Well, there we have it. This has been my look at an awesome collection of classics from Capcom. 1 second. Butchered by Birmingham's US Gold. Yeah, these computer versions are a bit of a damp patch in the sprawling tapestry of Capcom's back catalogue. But before I close the video, I wanted to show you this. It's nothing terribly exciting, but I thought it was worth a look. And that's the manual. Because inside, besides all the information you could possibly want, we have some contemporary reviews. So let's see what TGM, I think that's the Games Machine, thought of Forgotten Worlds, which I thought was a bit pants, really. They say, across all formats, Forgotten Worlds comes across as an ace shoot-'em-up, polished to sparkling perfection by its superb graphics. Bloody hell. I know cocaine was a popular drug in the 1980s, but bloody hell, there's limits. What else are we saying here? Zap, that must be the Commodore 64 version. One of the classiest conversions around. One of the arcade conversions of the year. Another review for the Amiga. One of those shoot-'em-ups you'd be stark raving mad to miss. Yeah, and it goes on and on like this. What's this one? Strider. Yeah, thought that was pants, personally. Let's see if we can find an Amiga review. I think that's one. A faithful conversion. All the thrills of the arcade original. Good gosh. Spiced with plenty of action, US Gold have done the biz. Strider will have you hooked right from the start. Bloody Nora. Black Tiger. Let's see. Only 2 reviews this time. A rootin', tootin', crawlin', hackin', jumpin', fancy, blastin', epic, great value. Yeah, I thought it was fairly decent. And finally, Ghouls and Ghosts. Yeah, I thought this one was actually very, very good, and it looks like, for once, we agree. Commodore user, brilliant, visually stunning, and extremely entertaining coin-op. I assume they're reviewing the home version, but yeah, that's it. Some notes there by the previous owner, but on the back of the manual we have some adverts for upcoming titles. I think I mentioned Strider 2, but also look at this one, UN Squadron. Who remembers that on the Super Nintendo? I love it here though with its Top Gun style cover art. But yeah, it got me thinking. I was actually considering doing or looking at some of the best and worst shoot-em-ups that ever appeared on the Commodore Amiga, because besides the obvious arcade conversions, there were a number of original shoot-em-ups as well. So let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. So yeah, I think that's everything. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please share, subscribe, like, etc, etc. So my name's Gray, this has been Consoletronix, more videos up soon. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.